tool stand breaks in the video.
We're going to take the batteries
Oh
off.
my god.
So didn't have a second set and was able to these are Kawasaki KA keys, Ace Hardware, KA 15s, I believe. I'm not a big fan of the fact that they're not matched keys.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we are at Tarpon Tom's, and they are going to install these two tires that we got. These HEB Depot ALLSCAPE 20x4 fat tires. Thought we'd give them a whirl, and then, of course, we're going to put some flat out in there. Brad, do you have liner by chance?
Tire liners?
Yeah.
I may. Actually,
if he's got them, we're going to look for that. we want a full flat proof situation, because right now we are realizing the ills of a repair for this bike. So it's the rack.
Yeah, it's not easy to get a bike like this off the ground, let alone its weight and the weird frame design.
I mean, what's the ideal situation? So first of all, don't do this at home. Second, get it to somebody who at least will have the responsibility enough to know how to fix the bike if in case anything goes wrong. But mostly it's have the right rack.
And a strong back. And there's electric racks out there that are a push button lift. You rack them up like this and you hit a button and it just lifts it right off the ground for you.
That's what you would need for
ideal.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can usually MacGyver something to make it work. And
who makes it?
Park Tool.
Park Tool?
Yeah. So,
I mean, I'm sure there's a Harbor
nice
Freight
piece of equipment.
here. Park Tools, are you listening? Please come through. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So don't do this at home, but here we are, and we're gonna.
But here we are.
We're gonna replace the tires.
Yeah. All right.
And if you do this at home, make sure you have a Wes.
Yeah. How's it going? Yeah, one of the big challenges of this bike is that the main motor wire, there's no plug in it anywhere. It's just hardwired straight out of the motor, all the way up into the frame of the bike and back to the controller. So the challenge is to do the job and keep it tethered to the bike with a very fragile wire.
Do you think, is there one here? No. That's insane. Yeah. That's a long line.
Yeah.
So it's all the way up through, and I know the controllers are here.
Right.
All right. Well, another reason to bring it to your shop.
Yeah. So there's a lot of bikes that are set up this way. A lot of scooters are this way. Luckily, this is being a bike, the tires are a little bit easier to change than on the little like 8-inch scooter tires. But still, just being tethered to the bike like this is a challenge and a little bit nerve-wracking, because that cord is pretty fragile, and if it falls off the bench and yanks it, or you can break the wires and
it's a no good situation. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll get right into it and just start. I'm gonna take this little wire clip off of here, so the wire will just be totally free as much as we can get it.
You rode this?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It's a sweet ride. I love the selectable front wheel, rear wheel, two-wheel option, so you can ride it however you want, or tame it down and make it just one-wheel drive, or make it insanity mode with two-wheel drive.
Yeah. Is this the first one you ever ridden?
I've ridden a couple of two-wheel drive bikes, but this is
first Ariel Rider.
Yeah.
It has a JB seat on it, so you were spoiled right off the bat.
Yeah, it's a beautiful seat.
Yeah, it is. So the factory, it cuts off right here, but it allows for a little rack. But this one has the JB and the pegs, so if you want to take somebody with you.
Yeah, you certainly can on this bike. This thing is
A beast.
A sturdy bike. Enough talking with the bike.
Not your average bear. Ha 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 ha.
This bike has, you can see it easier on this side here. Maybe it's got the little retaining washers that have the secondary bolt here. So you can loosen up these nuts and the wheel's not going to come off until you take these little plates off. It's kind of a fail safe if your wheel ever works loose, because the motor, it doesn't just leave the bike unexpectedly.
Warning number 1.
All right. When it comes to wheels, you want them to stay on the bike. You don't want them popping loose on you. There we got it loose.
So what was that? That was the difficulty. There was the disc. You got to drop it out of the disc.
And these fork legs, they have these little, maybe hard to see, these little like tangs on them that you have to get the washer loose enough to clear those little tabs that stick out. But another thing just to keep the wheel in place. If it ever started working loose, it doesn't fall off. So makes it handy to have a little stool or a bench nearby that you can prop the wheel up on and make sure you're not pulling on the cord. Like that. This one's nice. You have to be careful on some bikes where the wire comes straight out of the end of the axle. If you work on it like this, you can smash those wires up. But this one, it's nice. It comes out the side of the axle. So.
Jeremy's supposed to be coming.
Oh yeah.
He loves this thing, and he didn't get to ride it when the Kepler went down.
What did you guys do? You
just went back.
Loaded up and went home.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
You know, I questioned, but I sent the video in to Ariel Rider.
Yeah.
And I think we're on a 3-hour time difference. I think they're in Washington.
Yeah.
And he got back to me. The label was made the same day. So, and they said, you know, we'll send you the full accoutrement. I just paid for it, and when it's done, return it back and contact George, and that'll be the end of it.
Nice.
So that was a good deal.
Yeah, it's always good when they.
Thank you, Adam from Ariel Rider. We appreciate it.
We're putting new tubes in this, or are we using these?
I did not get tubes.
Okay.
I was curious if there's anything in these, like a sealant.
Doesn't, at first glance, it doesn't seem like it.
All right.
A lot of times you see it coming out of the valve and stuff right when you open it up. you go. Tires off. Never yank the cord. Gotta make sure it doesn't fall off the bench too. That could really
rule number 1: mind the cord.
Yeah. Let's see what you got to go on this thing.
Let's see. HEB Depot ALLSCAPE 20x4s.
Little carrying bag they give you with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would imagine it helps with shipping.
Yeah.
So
you can also put, if you had good tires that are taken off, you could be a nice storage bag to throw them in the garage. And...
No, the Grizzly chose to rip the tires apart. Look at this thing. I think 500 miles, and yeah, they're gone.
That's pretty fast on this.
And the front wheel is more worn than the rear. That is because of the weight differential off center of gravity. So the front wheel is lighter, and it just skids out if you try to take off.
Oh yeah, those are some hardy tires there.
Yeah.
Sure, what's coming off of these little.
I'm hoping this looks good. Put the gold lettering.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That's not on both sides. That sucks. All right.
Don't they know people buy tires just for the stuff that's written on them and the cool graphics? It could be any kind of tire. You put a cool graphic on the side.
What is happening? Make sure to look for your rotation. It is printed on the non-lettered side. I'm not crying. You're crying.
Do half this in each?
I think it's a quarter, if I remember correctly. Quarter of the volume.
Excessive.
I am gonna, yeah, I'll defer to your judgment. So you already took the valve out, eh?
Yeah, when I took the tire off of the rim, I took the valve out then.
So you doing half and half?
I do half and half.
I mean,
if you're into stopping the flats, I don't think you have too much of that. If this is a regular pedal bike, you might be like, you don't want all that extra weight. But this thing has plenty of power to overcome a few ounces to fix a flat. I mean, sorry, flat out.
Fix it. Oh my. We are not affiliated.
All right. So there you go. You get the sauce in the tube. Then you just gonna take your tire. Even though it's a new tire, I just want to make sure there's nothing falling into it and gonna cause a flat once you have it together. Taking the tire. So you know the rule of thumb is that labels like this and the tread design, everything, usually the label ends up on the chain side. The disc is on the opposite side, so we'll mount it up like this with the label facing down. You know it's heading in the right direction.
Chain sides, picture side.
Picture side.
Right side, drive side. Left side, brake side.
It's funny when you see bike manufacturers on their website and stuff, and they have their bike photographed on the opposite side of the chain, components, all the stuff
that matters.
It's like, yeah. Or you see funny stuff in catalogs and stuff for the bike has one fender on it, or backwards fork. Luckily, these are pretty loose fitting kind of tires. Just flip it over there.
Palms of steel, Brad.
Yeah.
Palms of steel.
That's good for getting the tire on, but when you pump it up, you always have to be careful that it doesn't come off of the rim.
So you got to make sure it's centered.
Yeah. So the key to that is just pumping it up in small stages, just a little bit at a time. Enough to kind of give it shape. Actually looking pretty good. I give you this nice kind of reference line around the tire. You kind of just check to make sure it's even all the way around. Yeah, just a little bit more air. Check it over again. Looking nice and centered. Now at this point, I just check the air pressure, see what we're taking it up to. I know Matt checked it earlier, but I wasn't paying attention.
No, I just checked rotation. I don't know
30.
the tricks of the trade.
Right. So.
But I believe them. How long have you been doing this?
I mean, I worked on my bike, since I was a kid, and take it to the bike shop or anything like that, and to figure out how to fix it myself. So, started working on it when I was probably 5th grade, 4th grade when I got my first real kind of BMX bike. But I've been working at the bike shop now for over 10 years.
Of all the tools that you have in here, I'm most jealous of that thing because all I have is a compressor and I can't talk when I'm the tires.
Yeah.
So 10 years, and then the e-bike thing, you just fell into it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I was working on bikes and everything before e-bikes even started coming around. So as we had the bike shop, just more and more people started bringing them in for, easier pairs, and then they weren't working and stuff. We just learn as we went and evolve with the industry.
A lot of people don't. A lot of shops did not. Right? They went
Yeah.
brand specific and wouldn't work on anything else.
Give me 1 second to help these guys.
Yeah.
So here we are. Tires on. It's up to pressure. Upper valve cap on it. Tires out of the way.
Do you exclusively sell the Thule racks that you just put on?
No, we sell a bunch of brands. That's one of the nicer ones. It's nicer features, more streamlined, lighter weight.
Yeah.
It's like rollers and stuff to roll around. Some of the other ones are a little bit cheaper, but they're made out of steel and stuff like that. So it's a bulkier kind of thing to move around your garage.
Like mine?
Yeah. The old spinny forks. Since they're not connected at the bottom, I forgot both fork legs move independently. So it makes it a little bit more of a challenge to line everything up. You have to line up the fork legs as you line up everything. Yeah.
You ever had your toes cramp while you're doing this?
Yeah. All this bike shop yoga. Yeah. Hold in place and reach to the workbench to grab the tool you forgot. Balancing it on your toes. So those you just kind of snug up for now. You can take a breather. It's kind of locked in place there. These safety washers.
So, at least it's loose. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Is that the light too?
No, the light mounts to the cross brace of the fork there. Just like that. Get the sweat dripping from them.
Give him the fan.
That's a good point. We didn't turn the fans on for that. Boy, it's so stinking hot in here.
Where are they? How do I do it?
A little remote hanging on the thing that says fan. Just the bottom button. There you go.
Aha. That is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's way better.
Right?
You didn't notice, bro? I'm sweating.
I'm just so used to sweating. I didn't notice the excessive amount of sweat that was happening. So.
It was the rack because we went outside.
Yeah. Sun will get you.
Welcome to Florida. So what do? It's the slack. The slack is up here, right? That's so the wheel can, or you can turn.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get this kind of loosely in place, but really, when they have this off, you can kind of see like where it's clean, where it used to be. There's mounted there. You kind of see the same kind of mark on the wire. You know, you don't want it. I really wouldn't want any slack here.
Right.
So I would pull that till it's, nice and comfortably tight like that, and then deal with the slack up there. You don't want slack hanging off your fork, grabbing tree branches or small children. These guys down. Motor wheels have a tendency to work themselves loose because of the torque going through the axle. So you want to make sure these guys are pretty doggone tight. And snugged up. Caps. That is one side done.
Ironically, I think the front's the worst end of this thing.
Oh yeah.
Typically, it's the opposite because motor's in the rear, but I think that's with the twisty fork and the continuous cable. It's a pain in the butt. On the rears, you have the ability to disconnect, which makes it super easy.
Must have been two different teams designing this bike. They had the front wheel team and the rear wheel team. They weren't allowed to see what each other were working on. It's like that.
The fight for controller space, right?
Yeah.
It's going under the seat.
It looks like it's the same setup back here with those little safety retaining washers that go around the axles. And there's this side, essentially, it's part of the derailleur guard is the retaining kind of mechanism. So,
That thing is beefy.
breaking these guys loose. And skipping a step here. First thing I always want to do is free up the wire. Disconnect your motor wire so that you don't get the wheel loose and off of there and then realize it's still connected to the bike. So it's always held on there by a couple of zip ties. Snap those off. So disconnected and out of the way. You don't have to worry about it being yanked on when you try to pull the wheel off.
Okay. It's a busy place.
Yeah.
Lots of things.
It's not a bad thing. Not a bad problem to have. Yeah. Considerably tight there.
Yowzers.
Yeah. Those are tight.
Breaker bar?
Something somewhere.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Is this?
We've never been on there before. Or off of there. I'm taking this side off just because it has this big flange on the nut. It's right here by the derailleur. Then I can take this thing all the way off there too and just make it easier to get the wheel on and off. Pull these little guys out. These are horizontal dropouts, so you don't have to worry about the wheel falling out of the bike at this point. It actually has to slide backwards and out of the way. Sometimes these calipers have to come out too because they're past like the curve of the rotor, and you try to pull it back and it hits the caliper.
We just saw that on an electric bike company bike.
Yeah. It's a pretty common thing to run into. There's that whole guard. And this really isn't a big deal. It's you can just take this one screw out, and then it'll pivot up out of the way. Like that. Tighten it up so it stays up like that. And now that's that. One thing you can do to make your life easier too is to you can derail the chain up here. Just give you slack in the chain. You're not fighting against that. And I think we're ready to come off. Maybe. It's kind of in place.
You tried.
I tried. So this one a little bit easier to work on since it's not tethered to the bike by the wire. It's life a little bit easier for us.
And the only times where the rear is easier than the front.
Okay. Let's pull the valve core out.
I always thought that this is my least favorite repair, but also one of the most gratifying out of or maintenance duties.
Yeah.
Replacing tires, tubes, fixing
Yeah.
flats.
Fixing flats, I'd say, isn't one of the more fun parts, but putting new tires on your bike is always a fun day. Changes the look of the bike. It rides better, it rides different. You could go from slick tires to knobbies and go off-road or vice versa. I always change the tires on my bike more than I probably should or need to. Started here, so there you go. Same as before, we're gonna put the flat out in the tube.
Time.
Yeah.
I feel like we should sing a song.
There you go. Valve core back in. Voila. Yeah, that in there. That's Again, I just want to air it up in stages. Make sure it's staying where that's centered on the rim. Looking good. A bit more. All right. Take it up to the 30 psi pressure. There you go. That's good. Put our valve cap back on. Very important. Right. Helps you remember your wire orientation, which way it's going, kind of help remember where your axles, all your hardware lines up. These do have these little tabs to prevent it from spinning. And if you put this in the opposite way, with this going in first, it's not going to let it line up correctly. Details are very important.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What'd you ride? The Amazon bike. What do you think?
Yeah. What's going on? They're way beefier than those old tires. Those ones right there, they're like thick inner tubes. Like, these things are almost like car tires or motorcycle tires or something. They're way more.
So derail your guard, and then you're just fitting that.
Yes. Everything kind of started.
That is the beefiest car. That thing's not a joke.
It's nice, it'll do its job. Some are so thin the bike falls over, it just bends into the derailleur.
Yeah.
Screws everything up anyways, so it's nice to see decent guard on there. Oh. Your wheels square up in the dropouts.
What do you mean?
Because these are horizontal dropouts, so you can have it so the wheels, not slid all the way into place, and nothing lines up right until you give it that final little push. Now your derailleur, brakes, everything won't rub.
Gotcha.
It's a little minute difference, but all the stuff on bikes are engineered to fit very closely in close tolerances. And a little bit. If you take it off like this, it doesn't mess with the adjustments of the caliper either. You can do the same, achieve the same thing by taking it off here, but then you'd have to readjust where the derailleur and everything, or the caliper lines up. Go. These are tight. Like the double check stuff, never hurts. Axle nut covers. Almost as important as the valve cap.
Always and forever.
Let's reconnect the motor wire, zip tie it up. Make sure your arrows line up and go straight at each other. Thread the coupler. Yep. Put the chain back on. Pretty easy. Anytime you have your wheel off and back on, you want to go through and just check your gears and everything, because if things don't line up how they were in the beginning, it's not going to shift right. You throw the chain into the hub and the gap here and bind up.
Where at?
Into this gap here. Sometimes they'll shift past this gear. It goes down inside of here.
Yeah.
You can lock up the hub, lock up the chain, cause you to crash.
Not something you want on this bike at all.
Brakes
Are
aren't
you
dragging.
satisfied?
I'm satisfied. Now you got to test ride it. It's not over until you test ride it. Rock, paper, scissors.
No, man, you get to do it.
All right, let's get this sucker down.
It's worth the ride.
Yeah. All right. Guess we need batteries if we're gonna have a fun test ride.
You need them both for sure.
The down tube battery. Come on, please. Give it a tug to make sure it's locked all the way in. Batteries are pretty much done for if they fall off your bike while you're riding. You know, survive that well. Yeah.
I've never dropped a battery.
Me neither.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I don't know. Yes, this one has a switch. It's on.
This? It's on?
Yeah, it's down here.
All right.
Oh, that's a good thing. We like it when it just turns on.
Yeah. All right. Oh.
I can hear it squealing. I know he's goosing it. I know it's full power too, just by the tires.
This is right nice.
I could hear you.
Feels out a little bit.
Yeah.
Didn't fix that problem.
Yeah,
I didn't think it would.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It just means this is going to be a recurring incident.
Yeah. You want to ride it?
I do, actually. I get, with this JB seat, I get to go all the way back, so I like that.
Yeah, that thing flies.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. All right, run the people down. I was trying to get up over the front so the front wouldn't peel out. Anyway.
Can you imagine this thing is a 26x4? This is so
Heavy.
much power.
Yeah.
God. I think it looks good. Thank you very much, Brad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look good. That's sweet.
Yeah,
It's super fun bike.
I love that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like, I mean, the weight of it and everything just makes it more, like, solid and more...
Yeah, it just feels
planted.
like it doesn't feel like a normal bicycle overpowered. It's,
right.
It's meant to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I've ridden some that are fast, but they're so sketchy feeling when you're going fast. It's like, yeah, I shouldn't be doing this.
You can see the yellow sidewalk, but this thing is slick, man. It's fast.
Yeah.
Power. New tires definitely helps.
Yeah.
Think they look good?
They look really good.
Yeah.
The yellow sidewalk is nice.
Nice thing is that they'll wear longer than those other tires. Those big fat blocks like that, they don't wear out as quick.
We shall see. I'm going to put them to the test.
Yeah. If it keeps peeling out like that, it's going to wear through
It's
anything.
inevitable. Recurring business.
Yeah. Yeah.